What is going on, guys? It is Dan here, and we are back with From the Depths. In today's episode, I've got something new to show off here. We have the GRD PZ1L 6_5 MR. So this designation is the guard. Kind of their purpose, though, is to guard our main vehicles. So these are based on the Panzer I hull, but it is a light version. So these tanks are significantly lighter, they have less armor, and are very much faster. They carry 6 5-meter rockets, which are just EMP warheads. Very, very agile, and very, very effective against the White Flayer's shields, and just everything else in general, because EMP shuts off all of the major electrical components. So these little guys are very effective at killing stuff. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have them as a separate fleet to our main one, just because I want to keep our main fleet over here, because I don't want to hinder the abilities of this fleet to move around. So we are going to just start by clearing up these tiles again from our previous attack, and we're going to get set up to attack this tile, but we're going to send in the light tanks first. They are also significantly cheaper. They're roughly half the cost of a regular obelisk, so they're much easier to replace should they be destroyed. So let's just grab these guys real quick. Pull back, and let's fight them. So let's see what we got here. Ravager, Cataphract, Ravager, Cataphract, and another Cataphract. Do we want to pull in this fleet? Because I kind of want to test out these vehicles. Now, first things first, I have been maybe not so much asked, but I've been told to build hovercraft. Now, I haven't done those yet. I do plan on building one in the future, specifically for fighting in these more uneven tiles. Ooh. Alright, so if we take our tanks and we put them down over here, or maybe if we put them there. The issue is I'm trying to get as far enough away as possible, so that way we have the best chance of just killing them immediately with EMP missiles. We'll spawn in the other fleet too, just as backup, because I have the strongest suspicion our light tanks are going to get stuck. So we're going to just start with having a very low amount of tanks spawning in, so that we can get a good test of our light tanks. So we're going to keep going down until yeah, that's about good enough. I have no idea how many of these guys are going to spawn in. Just 2. Alright, let's see if we'll be able to do anything. Alright, so the missiles are inbound, and some good hits on one of the cataphracts, and it is AI dead already. And a couple of them are already off. Now, this would be a very good reason to have a hover tank, just because this land is pretty difficult to traverse even for our light tanks. But I don't think they're going to be having much of an issue. Does seem that although they're kind of floaty, they're doing a pretty good job of scaling this hill. Now, they do have one major drawback. Since they're so lightly armored, they can be penetrated much easier, unlike the regular main battle tank sort of things. So these things can die much easier. So now the other one is also AI dead. We have a light tank underwater. Good job. We have this other these other two just sitting back over here. Another thing of note for these vehicles is they have a very high engine power for their size, which allows them to be kind of very effective. We're going to spawn in on this one over here. But yeah, if we were to take a look at the internals of this thing, it's basically engines all up in the front and just some very, very basic armor. So these things aren't really that well protected. But they're cheap, only about 10,000 material, 11,000 material, so they should be pretty easy to fix or just completely replace. And they're a very good distraction for the enemy because, well, they're up close. They've got some pretty devastating weapons, so the enemy is probably going to be more likely to target them. However, right now, it does seem that they're targeting our artillery piece just because it's got a much bigger gun. Alright, so another cataphract. Now, you might be able to say, oh, well, you see, we spawned in the enemy in a very unforgivable area, and that's the reason why we're killing them so quickly. Well, you would be right in saying that, but the thing is that they spawned in a much flatter area, and our light tank spawned in over here, and our light tank still managed to get up close and personal. However, I can't say the same about our vehicles over here. It would appear the Omen is stuck. Our artillery gun isn't stuck, but he's not meant to get very close. And the artillery piece is probably also stuck. But all in all, it's pretty good fight. Now, one thing that was also asked or whatever about this artillery piece, it is not only meant to be just a massive gun that sits in the back of the battlefield, it's also meant to get up close. It does have some pretty decent armor in the front, and since this turret is fully traversable, it can target basically anything it goes up against. On top of that, it is also very fast and pretty accurate, so it can function quite favorably as an assault gun that just gets up close and personal and does a lot of damage. But I probably will build a better designated vehicle for such a use. But our light tanks are doing pretty good, but ooh, that was pretty close. So hopefully our little friend here, nope, different friend. We want to be on the one that's up in the fight. Yeah, let's be on this one. All right. This could potentially end badly. If it gets caught by that, it will not end well. Because that's another issue with these things. Since they're so light and fast, they sometimes... I'm dead. They have an issue with running into stuff. And when they do that, they explode. And it's really bad. Alright. Well, it did come off. It did make it from that fight. So we do have that. Oh, did we already kill it? We killed it. So that is the power of our light tanks. They are very small, very cheap, and very deadly. So I'm kind of proud. God, English. I am quite proud with the design. They're very fast, very maneuverable. They repair themselves pretty quickly because they're very resource light, and well, they're light tanks, so they do a pretty good job of just killing everything. So let's get everyone back.
Receiving.
Our light tanks collected 20,000 resource. Now that is something.
Yes. On my way. Receiving. Moving.
All right, so light tanks inbound. I honestly have no idea where the resource zones in this area are going to be. So So I guess what we're going to do next is we're going to scout this. We're going to pull it back.
Moving. Yes. On my way. On my
Everyone
way.
get in position.
On my way. On my way.
Alright. What do we got here? We've got 2 flyers, a wrecker. Oh, those are the... Oh, we got 3 flyers. Okay, so we've got a bunch of wreckers. Let's just bring everyone in. It's only 18,000.
Receiving.
So this is going to be a pretty good test of our light tank's ability to destroy flying enemies.
Yes.
I have yet to actually test them against something like that. So we're going to put our artillery guns right there. And I feel like that's probably good enough to get this fight started. Let's see exactly what terrain we're going to be fighting on, though. Pretty even, so much better than our previous fight, that's for certain. So the wreckers are, I believe, the flying buzzsaw things, which I happen to think were pretty cool. Alright, so light tanks off. And here come... I mean, these things are actually pretty terrifying looking. I wonder if they go in for melee damage at all. Alright, so the missiles don't appear... Oh. They don't appear to be maneuverable enough to hit those. So that is going to be a bit of an issue. However, I believe our anti-aircraft guns are hitting them. Yep. There goes one of the wreckers. Alright, let's see if the missiles can redeem themselves. Let's see if the light tanks can, I don't know, change something. I'm also thinking about making some modifications to the rat tank, because as much as I like having all those guns on it, when the guns are taken out, it has a bit of an issue with dying, and that kind of defeats the purpose of the vehicle to basically break through the enemy and basically give the enemy something to shoot at other than our other tanks. So I might actually modify the turret and give it more guns and kind of replace the front-facing guns with a lot more armor. And as of right now, the obelisk turret that I have fitted to it, it doesn't hold up well enough. I might even fit a modified version of the Omen turret just to make sure it works the best. Alright, so from this fight we were able to deduce that our light tanks are incapable of hitting flying vehicles effectively. That's another thing I need to do real quick is... I mean, I could go and... just do whatever it is for those where you do the whatever it is, retrofit. I could do that, but it's probably just easier to do it that way. Alright, repair. Everyone's repaired. Alright, let's do some more scouting. Because I don't know what's going to be in here. So we do have quite a bit of resource from this. Alright, so far, there doesn't appear to be anything of importance in this tile. But that could change. Alright, let's lead an assault on that tile.
On my way. Receiving. Moving.
If there is anything actually here. Yep, there is something here. Alright, so they've got another Wrecker, a Priest, a Reaver, Cataphract, and a Ravager. Alright, so another good test for our light tanks. What I really ought to do, though, is change their targeting system so that way they aren't trying to shoot at the flyers. I don't think they will, but just to be on the safe side, I might want to do that in the future.
Yes.
And we're just going to bring everyone in nice and close. I won't be bothered to actually set them up to shoot stuff properly or whatever. But we're going to put the scout way in the back. What I ought to do also is, how fast is the scout? 42, and the light tanks are significantly faster. Okay, I was about to say what I ought to do is make it so that way we have a scout for this fleet, but probably not as useful considering it's going to stick around with our main fighting force. Nah. Alright. Let's see here. So we've, I believe, already fought up against every single one of these. I don't know about the Reaver. That's... Okay, I think we fought against the Reaver. I was concerned about the turret there for a second. I thought it was like a 2-axis, but no, we just, it's already done. I think the Priest has actually killed it. So, that's fun. Oh, there's a little bit of damage. What is that, though? Like, it's shooting, like, fragmentation? Ooh. Are our EMP missiles hitting us? That wouldn't make sense because they're not meant to. They've got friendly fire or whatever on it. Wrecker is already dead. One of our light tanks lost a turret. No matter, though, they're cheap turrets to replace. So... light tanks, actually, I'm going to select them and have them automatically go after it. All of you guys, no, don't go after the Reaver, actually, because it's, the poor Reaver over here is, it's done. The Reaver, we're going to come and clean it up after the, we're done with the rest of the fight. But I want the light tanks to target the Priest before it can get to our vehicles. That is AI dead. No, Priest is already at our vehicles, and, wait, no, that's not the Priest, that's the Cataphract. Is the Priest? Oh, that's the Priest. The Priest is dead. Yeah. The Rat Tank needs some significant love. Because the guns provide a very weak spot to the front of the tank. So... they're going to need replaced with additional armor. Goodbye, Rat. Yeah, its armor isn't as tough as even my lighter vehicles, like the Obelisk or the Omen. So those would need upgraded as soon as possible. So that's probably going to be my goal off camera, to replace the Rat with a much better design. Because I do love the tank dearly. It's just in its current state, it isn't as effective as I'd like it to be. So our light tanks. As you can see, their hull is very similar to that of the Obelisk. In fact, it's the original hull. The very first hull I ever built when it came to building tanks. In fact, I might show off those first terrible designs in the future. But this is essentially the same hull, except it's been gutted and made much faster. So the funny thing is all of these tanks that are based on the same chassis have all come from the same place in the beginning, which is the original I believe I called it the Helion tank, but that's how all of this started, was with one little tank that was utter garbage. It was so bad it wasn't even able to kill itself. Like, it was bad. I believe it had a single 120mm gun that fired very slowly, had pretty poor armor penetration, and had a problem with overheating the engine, so it wasn't a good tank at all. So yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good spot to cut it for right now. Let's just finish and clear out what's left of this tile and see if there's anything of interest here. It'd be awesome if we ran into another resource zone. Now, my game appears to be running into that lag issue again that I was having earlier, so... Oh. Looks like we're gonna get one more fight. What is it? It's a Reaver and a Cataphract. I think our light tanks can handle this. So what we'll do is we'll put these two over here. We'll put these two over here. What I'd like to do is have more of these light tanks, though, so I can have like a full fleet dedicated to them, because they are pretty powerful for their size. And let's spawn in on our flagship. Let's get this fight going. So we're gonna get this one last fight in. I have a feeling our light tanks are going to be able to pull it off, just because there's 4 of them versus the 2. But that being said, the Cataphract does a very good job of... Yep, that's the Reaver already gone. That's what I'm saying, though. These guys have a tendency to run into stuff, and it's not good. Luckily, though, it was... Surprisingly, it was in the side, which is probably the best armor on the tank. Because in the front, it's just immediately engines. So, although they don't really explode in the same way ammunition does, it's probably not the best that they get hit. And it would appear that the Cataphract is also coming to an end. So, our basically 3,000 volume fleet was capable of destroying however large this fleet was pretty convincingly. So with that, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. If you liked this episode, please let me know in the comment section below. Like the video. If you want to see more of this, I plan on doing so in the future. Subscribe to the channel so you guys can get the latest content. And this thing is still going. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Take care.